Hello dear students, welcome to this lecture on the intriguing subject of development and inter-community conflicts. Some of the key objectives of this lecture are to gain a comprehensive understanding of the concept of development, to explore the intricate dynamics of inter-community conflicts, to analyze the role of development as a potential source of inter-community conflicts, to explore and examine connection between development and inter-community conflicts, to highlight their interplay and potential implications. By the end of this lecture, you will have a deeper insight into these significant aspects. Let me begin with the meaning and concept of development. Development is an elusive term meaning different things to different groups of social scientists. Most would agree, however, that development implies more than just a rise in real national income. It must be a sustained secular rise in real income accompanied by change in social attitudes and customs which have in the past impeded economic progress. Development is a dynamic process that fosters growth, progress, and positive transformation. It serves as a vital indicator of a healthy society. It's a process that creates growth, brings in progress and positive change. The concept of development is used to refer to total transformation of a system. Development also implies a progression from a lower and often undesirable state to a high and preferred one. According to the United Nations Development Programme, development is to lead long and healthy lives, to be knowledgeable, to have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living, and to be able to participate in the life of the community. Achieving human development is linked to a third perspective of development, which views it as a freeing people from impediments that affect and impact their ability to develop their own lives and communities. Development also can be defined in terms of attacking widespread absolute poverty, reducing inequalities, and removing the specter of unemployment. All these being achieved within the context of a growing economy. It is in this context that many scholars have redefined development in terms of both redistribution with growth and meeting the basic needs of general population. According to Walter Rodney, development is a multi-dimensional process. At the individual level, it implies increased skill and capacity, greater freedom, creativity, self-discipline, responsibility, and material well-being. At the level of social groups, it implies an increasing capacity to regulate both internal and external relationships. Everett M. Rogers defines development as a type of social change in which new ideas are introduced into a social system in order to produce a high per capita income and levels of living through modern production methods and improved social organization. Therefore, real development involves a structural transformation of economy, society, polity, and culture of satellite that permits the self-generating and self-perpetuating use of development of the people's potential. The concept of development has undergone many changes over the years. Initially, development would mean catching up with the West in terms of economic growth and modernization of the societies. However, in the contemporary times, it is seen as a comprehensive societal process to move the underdeveloped nations from their state of economic backwardness and slow socio-cultural change to a dynamic state characterized by sustained economic growth and socio-cultural and political transformation that improves the quality of life of all members of society. Development can be broadly divided into two: economic development and human development. Economic development refers to process whereby simple, low-income national economies are transformed into modern industrial economies. Economic development, sometimes used as a synonym for economic growth, is employed to describe a change in a country's economy involving qualitative as well as quantitative improvements. Economic development first became a major concern after the World War II. As the era of European colonialism ended, many former colonies and other countries with low living standards were characterized as underdeveloped economies. As living standards in most of these poor countries began to rise in subsequent decades, they were renamed as developing economies. Now let us talk about human development. Human development may be defined as an expansion of human capabilities, a widening of choices, an enhancement of freedom, and a fulfillment of human rights. Human development grew out of global discussions on the links between economic growth and development during the second half of the 20th century. In 1970s and 80s, development debate considered using alternative focuses to go beyond GDP, which means gross domestic product, including putting greater emphasis on the employment, followed by redistribution with growth, and then whether people had their basic needs met. These ideas helped pave the way for human development approach, which is about expanding the richness of human life rather than simply the richness of the economy in which human beings live. It's an approach that is focused on creating fair opportunities and choices for all people. Based on the notion of human development, Human Development Index was constructed. It serves as a more humane measure of development than a strictly income-based benchmark of per capita GNP. The Human Development Index takes into consideration such factors as adult literacy, life expectancy, and educational enrollment, as well as GDP. In other words, the achievement of economic growth must be judged in terms of its impact on the lives and well-being of people, as argued by Mahbubul Haq, the pioneer of human development philosophy. Dear students, now let me come to another theme of this lecture, which is about defining inter-community conflicts. Since the dawn of civilization on this planet, conflicts remain an important part of human society, from individual level to international level. It's the biological and cultural survival or national interest of state which defines the demand and supply of states according to their needs and causes the conflict among parties. Conflict also refers to situations of disagreement between groups or individuals over some collective goals. Means of achieving such goals are the distribution and allocation of collectively owned resources. Conflict is an inevitable phenomenon and has various causes to erupt among the societies and states. Conflicts are long-lasting aspects of human behavior and social relationships. With the modification of societies, the causes and consequences of conflict remain unpredictable, but some basic principles are same, as any unresponded conflict is a threat to traditional and non-traditional security of industrial states. According to Johan Galtung, the founder of peace and conflict studies, an action system is said to be in conflict if the system has two or more incompatible goal states. R.C. Michel states that conflict is a situation in which two or more human beings desire goals which they perceive as being obtainable by one or the other, but not both. This compact definition can be clarified by saying that there must be at least two parties, each mobilizing energy to obtain a goal or a desired object or situation, and each party perceived others as a barrier to that goal. The 20th century witnessed more than 250 conflicts and over 100 million casualties, and most of them were civilians. Inter-community conflict, on the other hand, refers to tensions, disputes, or clashes that arise between different communities or groups within a society. It usually involves two opposition communities. These conflicts can stem from a variety of factors such as ethnic, religious, or cultural differences, competition for resources, historical grievances, or political disagreements. Inter-community conflicts can range from minor disagreements to a full-scale violence, posing significant challenge to social cohesion and stability. The acts of aggression include kidnapping or killing of other community members, seizure of property from other community members, invasion of other community with dangerous weapons such as guns, cutlasses, axes, dynamites, acids, etc. Total or partial destruction of other communities, encroachment or occupation of other community fishing grounds or farmlands, the use of dynamites and chemicals for fishing in other communities' fishing grounds. Dear students, now let me talk about the main theme of this lecture, which is about interplay between development and inter-community conflict. The relationship between development and inter-community conflict is a complex and multifaceted issue that requires careful analysis. The correlation between development endeavors and inter-community conflict is intricate and can fluctuate based on context, strategies, and execution of development projects. When development initiatives are implemented in regions affected by inter-community conflict, the potential for both positive and negative outcomes arise. On one hand, development can act as a catalyst for peace building and conflict resolution by addressing underlying socio-economic disparities, providing equal opportunities, and fostering inclusive governance. Development can help alleviate tensions and promote cooperation between communities. However, development can also worsen inter-community conflict if not implemented with sensitivity and inclusivity. Unequal distribution of resources, exclusionary policies, or neglecting the needs and aspirations of marginalized communities can deepen existing divisions and fuel resentment. Moreover, development projects that disregard cultural or environmental considerations may further strain inter-community relations. Hence, while development initiatives have the potential to foster positive change and contribute to peace building, they can also be sources of tension and conflict. Here are key considerations when examining the interplay between development and inter-community conflicts. First, competition for resources. One of the key factors that contribute to inter-community conflict is the competition over the scarce resources. Development often leads to increased demand for resources such as land, water, and minerals. The unequal distribution of these resources can create tensions between different communities, especially when one community feels marginalized or deprived. For instance, conflicts in resource-rich areas such as the Niger Delta in Nigeria demonstrate the detrimental impact of development-induced competition over resources. Therefore, it is crucial for development policies to address resource management and ensure equitable distribution to avoid exacerbating inter-community conflicts. Number 2, identity politics. Development can inadvertently intensify identity-based divisions and fuel conflicts between different ethnic, religious, or tribal groups. In societies with deep-rooted divisions, economic progress may disproportionately benefit certain communities, leading to feelings of resentment and marginalization among others. This sense of exclusion can easily escalate into inter-community conflict. To mitigate this, development initiatives should be inclusive, considering the interests and need of all communities, so as not to further polarize society. Third, inequitable development benefits. It has been observed that development often gives rise to inequalities within and between communities, which can become a significant source of conflict. When certain groups feel marginalized or excluded from the advantages that development brings, it can contribute to conflicts. This unequal distribution of development benefits among different communities not only worsen existing inequalities but also creates tension as those left behind feel neglected or exploited. A striking example of this can be seen in countries like South Africa, where a long history of economic disparities has fueled inter-community tensions, particularly between the historically disadvantaged black population and the white minority. To prevent conflicts rooted in economic inequalities, it is essential to prioritize equitable development and implement measures that promote income redistribution and reduce wealth gaps. Fourth, cultural and social disruptions. In the process of development and modernization, societies undergo significant shifts that can challenge established norms and values. These shifts may include advancements in technology, changes in economic system, and alterations in social structure. While these transformations can bring about positive outcomes such as economic growth and improved living standards, they can also have unintended consequences. For instance, disruption of traditional social, economic structures and loss of cultural heritage. Consequently, this can lead to a sense of loss and disorientation among individuals and communities who have relied on these structures for generations. Moreover, communities may resist change, fearing the erosion of their cultural identity. This resistance can lead to social divisions, as different groups within society hold contrasting views on the direction of development. In extreme cases, these conflicts can escalate into violence and unrest, further aggravating the challenges faced by societies in transition. To mitigate these disruptions, it is crucial for development planning to incorporate cultural preservation as a fundamental aspect. Recognizing and valuing cultural heritage not only ensures the continuity of traditions but also fosters social cohesion and inclusivity. By engaging with local communities and involving them in decision-making processes, development initiatives can be tailored to respect and protect cultural identities. Fifth, political marginalization. Development and political marginalization are closely intertwined. While development aims to improve the overall well-being of societies, it can inadvertently marginalize certain groups, due to economic inequalities and barriers to political participation. Political marginalization occurs when individuals or social groups are excluded from participating in decision-making processes that shape their lives. In some cases, marginalized groups lack political representation and are denied equal access to political power, which can perpetuate their exclusion from developmental processes. This exclusion breeds discontent and can lead to social unrest, as marginalized groups often struggle to voice their concern and advocate for their interests. Political marginalization prevents these groups from having a say in policies and decisions that directly affect and impact them, reinforcing their disempowerment and perpetuating their marginalization. The causes of political marginalization are multifaceted. Discrimination based on various characteristics such as race, ethnicity, gender, or socio-economic status can lead to exclusion of certain groups from political processes. In addition, power dynamics within societies can enable the dominance of certain groups, who then prioritize their interests over those of marginalized communities. Therefore, it is important to address and confront these issues to achieve inclusive and sustainable development that benefits all members of a society. Sixth, environmental impacts. The relationship between development and environment is a complex one, as the pursuit of economic growth often comes at the expense of ecological sustainability. There is a growing awareness that development activities have a significant impact on environment, and it is crucial for all to understand and address these issues. Development activities have led to widespread environmental degradation and have put immense pressure on natural resources. As economies continue to grow, there is an increase in the demand for energy, water, and land. This leads to deforestation, pollution of air and water, and depletion of valuable ecosystems. Climate change, caused primarily by human activities, is another significant consequence of development, with far-reaching impacts such as extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and threats to biodiversity. Different communities respond to these concerns differently. Additionally, the loss of natural resources often disproportionately affects vulnerable populations, which further enhances inequality and poverty. People and communities with immediate impact reflect in contrast to those who are benefited by development projects. As a result, it can lead to inter-community conflict over the management and benefits of these developmental projects. Seventh, infrastructure and urbanization. The expansion of infrastructure and urbanization has far-reaching implications for our society. As cities grow and modernize, they attract a surge of people seeking better opportunities and improved living standards. This influx of individuals can lead to profound changes in the demographic makeup of both urban and rural areas. Consequently, the competition for limited resources intensifies as the growing population strains existing infrastructure, such as transportation networks, housing, and utilities. Further, the disparities in development between urban and rural regions have become a pressing concern. While cities flourish with advanced amenities, improved services, and economic opportunities, rural areas often lag behind in terms of infrastructure and access to essential resources. This stark contrast in development has fueled tensions and conflicts between communities, as those residing in rural areas feel marginalized and neglected. Addressing these challenges require a comprehensive and strategic approach. Policymakers must prioritize equitable development, ensuring that both urban and rural areas receive adequate attention and investment. By bridging the gap between urban and rural infrastructure, we can alleviate the strain on resources and foster a more harmonious society. Number 8. External influences. In the realm of conflict management and community development, it is crucial to acknowledge the impact that external actors can have on the dynamics at play. Governments, with their policies and actions, can either worsen or alleviate tensions between communities. Similarly, corporations and international organizations possess the ability to either fuel or mitigate conflicts through their involvement. The influence of external entities extends beyond mere observation or passive involvement. Their actions can directly impact the balance of power within communities as well as the fair distribution of resources. By leveraging their authority, governments, for instance, can worsen existing conflicts by favoring one community over another or by neglecting the needs of certain groups. Conversely, they can play a pivotal role in mitigating conflicts by promoting dialogue, fostering inclusivity, and ensuring equitable resource allocation. Next is community engagement and participation. Lack of community engagement in development process can contribute to conflicts. Meaningful participation ensures that the concerns and perspectives of all communities are considered, reduces the risk of tensions. Next is conflict-sensitive development. Adapting a conflict sensitivity approach to development involves understanding the local context, identifying potential conflict triggers, and designing projects that minimize negative impacts. It also includes actively working to address existing conflicts and grievances. To address the interplay between development and intercommunity conflict, several strategies can be implemented. First, dialogue and inclusive governance mechanism should be established to allow for peaceful resolution of conflicts and the inclusion of all communities in development planning. Additionally, development initiatives should prioritize social cohesion and peaceful coexistence by investing in education, promoting cultural exchange, and fostering mutual understanding among different communities. Moreover, international cooperation and aid can play a crucial role in supporting sustainable and conflict-sensitive development efforts. Dear students, to conclude, we can sum up that development refers to the process of improving economic, social, and environmental well-being of a community or a society as a whole. It encompasses various aspects including infrastructure development, poverty reduction, education, healthcare, and sustainable resource management. The ultimate goal of development is to enhance the quality of life for individuals and promote overall societal progress. Intercommunity conflict, on the other hand, refers to tensions, disputes, or clashes that arise between different communities or groups within a society. These conflicts can stem from a variety of factors such as ethnic, religious, or cultural differences, competition for resources, historical grievances, or political disagreements. Intercommunity conflicts can range from minor disagreements to full-scale violence, posing significant challenge to social cohesion and stability. The interplay between development and intercommunity conflict is a complex and multifaceted issue that has been widely studied and debated. Development, which encompasses economic, social, and political progress, has potential to both alleviate and worsen inter-community conflict. Therefore, it is crucial to manage scarce resources equitably, addressing identity politics, reducing inequalities, and promoting inclusive policies. The negative impact of development on inter-community conflicts can be mitigated. It is vital for policymakers, development practitioners, and communities themselves to recognize the importance of aligning development goals with peace-building efforts to ensure a sustainable and harmonious future for all. This is all about today's topic. I am sure you all benefited from this. I look forward to see you with new topic for discussion. Take care and goodbye.